ever-faithful companion, Dark Magician!
Welcome along, fellow Dark Magician enthusiasts, to another deck profile. As you can probably tell, King of Games for the month of April 2026, despite the Tier 0 meta that Therion have created. I cannot tell you how many bloody times we matched against Therion, or how many Kaijus, Lava Golems, and Sphere modes we saw in the streams. Oh my god. Absolute nightmare. Just Therion, Destiny Hero, just all that stupid crap, but we managed to push through it. With Master of the Dark and Chaos, by the way, brand new strategy that, chef's kiss, works so well against Lava Golem, and Lava Golem is currently the third most popular card in Duel Links right now. So, without further ado, 3 copies of Illusion of Chaos to make the deck more consistent. You need your Searcher. We don't need to use Apprentice Illusion Magician. We don't really need to use any other Dark Spellcasters. 3 Illusion of Chaos is brilliant. We have 1 copy of Tamai No Dragon because there are going to be situations where you will need Tamaias to fuse, and it works marvelously. So don't skimp on it. And we're playing Master of the Dark and Chaos if you weren't aware. So you only need the 1 for this skill. 1 is fine. You don't need 2, don't need 3, just the 1. 1 is perfect. Then we have the 1 Dark Magician Girl, of course, mandatory. Cannot play the skill without it, and you don't need to run more than 1. Yeah, brilliant. 2 copies of Duel and Lockbird, and yes, I did haphazard. I did cog, and this is the deck profile right now that you're in the middle of. Say hi to YouTube. 2 Duel and Lockbird. Now, previously I was running 3, but I did cut it down to 2 to increase my consistency, and Duel was hit or miss. Sometimes it worked really well, sometimes it did absolutely nothing. Duel works really well just against every good deck that draws heavily. The Union deck, ABCs. We've also got bloody trying to think. I gotta have a look at my Duel Links meta actually. Galaxy Photon, Tachyon, Destiny Heroes. It does shut down Sword Soul. I do believe it hits Gimmick Puppet a bit hard. Punk as well, Drytron. I don't believe it hits Markiners though. Dragon Maid doesn't really suffer from it much. Fluendaries, it hurts a lot. Rika as well. Wing Dragon of Ra, Sky Striker. It can hurt Shaddoll a bit, as well as Blue Eyes and any DM matchups. Speed Troopers. So yeah, Droll is a good hand trap, but it's not as good as 3 DD Crow, which 3 DD Crow is surprisingly really good in this format. Because Therion is now tier 0 and it's just prevalent everywhere. I'm finding incredible usage out of DD Crow in matchups I didn't even consider, using DD Crow. It's really good. If your opponent plays Galaxy Photon and they send Photon Jumper, DD Crow it. If your opponent's playing Trap Tricks, you can just DD Crow their Trap Tricks monsters. Or even their trap cards. It hits branded well. Destiny Hero suffers when you banish their Malicious before they do. It can affect Sword Soul. It doesn't do anything against ABCs, unfortunately, which is why we have Droll. Punk, it can hurt a bit as well. Drytron as well. Yeah, it's very good against many different decks. I do recommend trying it. If you're not getting good results out of Effect Veiler, use DD Crow. DD Crow is very good, surprisingly good. And if you haven't gotten it, for a limited time, it is available in Selection Box Volume 5, or you can get it from the Shining Hope box, which there is a sale on it. The packs are cheaper, so try and get through it if you can. very, very cheap while this offer is on, like, is available. Yeah, you're not going to want to skip out on this. One copy of Grand Tusk Dragon, which is necessary for the Heraldic Seal, the Heavenly Spheres combo. You summon Grand Tusk Dragon, pop 2 during your opponent's turn for really great interruption. It's very, very good in this meta, like, but it needs to be timed right. You have to time it right. And if your opponent forces it out with a Kaiju, you can always summon Grand Tusk Dragon and pop the Kaiju to stop your opponent from Lava Goleming you. Yes, Sphere mode always needs to be timed right, but still, Grand Tusk Dragon, very, very good. And as Excel has said, if you don't have, like, you know, if you don't have DD Crow, you don't have Duel, you can use Xyz's Encore instead, which hard counters a bunch of the top decks at the moment. Which, if I look it up here, it is a normal quick play spell. Here it is here, Xyz's Encore. I got my 3 copies, and currently the Stars of Synchro box is on sale. It's a mini box, thankfully, so it should be a lot easier to get the cards. Try and get it if you can. It's a good staple. Don't skip out on it. Yeah, that's another option if you don't want to go DD Crow or Joel. 3 Rod, necessary for the combos. You know, no need to say more. It's really good. 3 Souls. It is vital in setting up the Heraldic Seal, the Heavenly Spheres combo, as you'll use Salvation and Spheres to set up all the necessary monsters, as well as summoning Rod. So you need your 3 Souls. You need to see it as much as possible, as well as Rod. If you see Rod and Souls, you have the full combo to set everything up. That's full combo. So yeah, 3 Rod, 3 Souls. That's complete combo for Heraldic Seals. And of course, 3 DM. It's the Ultimate Wizard. Like, everyone knows that. Ultimate Wizard. You need to have 3 for this version. You don't want to, like you can run 2, but you do run the risk of less consistency. And typically, if you have DM in your hand, that's really good for making Dragoon during your opponent's turn. So that way you don't have to summon DM with Eternal Soul and then try and quickly make it with secrets, you know, on the field. You know, keep it in the hand. It's good, because if your opponent ever tries to force out Heavenly Spheres, you can just quickly use secrets and make Dragoon that way. That way you don't lose your Dragon monster. But yeah, 3 DM, good. Then we have 1 copy of Salvations, critical card combo piece for Heavenly Spheres. Only need the 1 though. Don't need more than 1. 1 is perfectly fine. 2 copies of Soul Servant. I know everyone can't get more than 1 copy from buying the structure decks, but I am aware though that the if we get at the deck editor for just a moment, because this is still part of the deck profile, if you noticed if we go all the way down to the super rare dream tickets, for the super rare dream tickets that was available from the spring campaign, Dimension Conjurer is available through the dream tickets, and Dimension Conjurer is only available through the Soul Servant structure deck. So the next time that Konami hands out a UR dream ticket, Soul Servant will be on the menu to acquire from a dream ticket. So as soon as you see a UR dream ticket, get Soul Servant, as many copies as you can. As long as you get 3, you'll be winning. You'll be winning with 3 copies. Try and get it if you can. If you can't get more than 1 copy at the moment, you can use just 1, perfectly fine, and you can always replace it with some more consistency cards or some more board breakers, hand traps, and so on. Would 2 DM also risk more bricks? It really depends on how many Dark Spellcasters you have. So what my deck is designed with, and I will mention the 1 Preparation of Rites, which searches the Illusion of Chaos. Currently we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 Dark Spellcasters, and Preparation of Rites can kind of count as another Dark Spellcaster. Whoop, there goes my alarm. Preparation of Rites counts as another Dark Spellcaster because it grabs Illusion of Chaos, so you got 14 ways into getting your skill live. That's the whole main point. As long as you can get anywhere between 13 to 15 cards for consistency, you should be pretty right. You don't need more than 15, but anywhere between that number is fine. Like between those numbers is fine. 13's good, 14's alright, 15's excellent. But yeah, always change up how many dark spellcasters you have, or how many ways you can get into your dark spellcasters, depending on depending on how much you're bricking, how much you're drawing into them, and so on. There's a lot of factors, but yeah, you can always change this up as necessary, depending on your deck's needs. We do have 2 copies of Droplet. Droplet's a good card. If you're not finding much use out of Droplet, you can always replace it with Book of Eclipse or Xyz Encore. But I've found Droplet is actually really good, because if you can stop the combos early, like as early as possible, you know, you can shut them down. But Xyz Encore does work well, because for this skill, you're locked out of cards. You're locked out of summoning specific monsters. And for Xyz Encore, if I get the card back up again, and I will favorite it, because it does say, you know, you gotta detach all the materials from the Xyz monster, which doesn't count as affecting the monster. And if you detach them all, you return it to the extra deck, and then if there's a monster card amongst the attached materials in the graveyard, you have to special summon as many as possible. But because we're locked under specific monsters because of our skill, we don't have to special summon them. So it's a really good removal that your opponent can't even do anything about. Can't respond to it, just boom, detach, put back in the extra deck, and they have to waste so many cards getting back to it again. So it's another option to consider if you don't have Droplet. But I do prefer Droplet. I love the interruptions. What is bro saying? What I'm saying, Arch, is if you don't have Droplet, you can use Xyz Encore. And even though Xyz Encore says you have to special summon as many of the monsters that are detached from the Xyz monster that you return to the extra deck, our skill restrictions lock us into summoning specific monsters. So even if you detach a bunch of materials, your opponent, like, you know, you don't have to special summon the monsters back. The only matchup you would have to be careful of, however, is Galaxy Photon and Tachyon. If they have any level 8 light monsters, you will end up summoning them back to your opponent's field, and it can mess you up a bit. Like it could be a hindrance, but this is still good. This is still a good card. This is still very good. And Book of Eclipse, as Sonic Eli has said, is really good as well. So it really depends on your preference, what you find works better. Droplet works better for me, but not every deck and not every card is equal. Keep that in mind. One copy of Secrets. Sorry, messing up my English. I only need the 1 Secrets. 1 Secrets is good. No need to get more copies from the Secret of a Magician's structure deck. Good shit. Then we have 1 Dark Magical Circle. You know, I only need the 1 Circle. 1 copy of Expanded, because I only realistically need the 1. It came up a bit here and there, which did work out. Sometimes you don't need it though. So it really just depends. And then of course we have the 1 copy of Eternal Soul to pair with Circle and Salvation. Now, you might be wondering, where is Dark Magic Attack? Where is Magician's Combination? This, pardon me, sorry. This specific build of the deck cuts Combination completely because it clashes too much with the Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres setup. And Dark Magic Attack, I couldn't really find a good spot for it without cutting out my consistency or my tech options, and that was a big problem. It was a big problem because this meta isn't really too heavily focused on back row. Plus, if your opponent is playing Dragluxion Slop and they got Tachyon Transmigration, if they manage to summon a Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon monster, they can just keep Transmigration in hand, and you can't do anything to stop it. Which is very annoying. So that's why I cut out Dark Magic Attack. It is worth to fit more techs rather than the board breakers, because you need to try and rip apart your opponent's field with as many negates or like Xyz Encores, Book of Eclipses and stuff like that as possible, and then you just use your deck's power to, like, you know, bash through the entire field and like get your own field set up. If you're finding that you're having a hard problem with playing against spells and traps in your opponent's field, you know, you might as well replace Expanded with Dark Magic Attack. But for me, surprisingly, yeah, I didn't feel that much of a need to use it. It was still pretty, like, you know, deck was really good without it. But if you're struggling, absolutely recommend it. For Droll and DD Crow, if you don't have those cards, as TZZ has mentioned, you can use Skullmeister, you can use Artifact Lancia, because some decks do banish, and you can just shut that deck down completely by doing that. What else? I'm trying to think. You can use Effect Veiler, you can use Ghost Mourner. If you happen to have any copies of Ghost Spell, recommend using Ghost Spell. But like, this would be the perfect time to try and get hand traps as best you can, because the boxes are on sale. Older boxes are cut down in half in gem price, so try and get the hand traps if you possibly can. If you can't, that's understandable, but if you can, I would highly recommend going for the hand traps 100%, because, like, you know, they're going to be mandatory for this format until Konami fixes it, which is crap. Konami have made a crap format and we're having to come up with a solution for it, but that means more money for them, so I guess they like it. But anyway, for the extra deck, Dragon Master Knight, mandatory for this version. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, absolute champion. We make him during the opponent's turn. Opponent doesn't know what's hitting him. Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. Surprisingly, Dark Magician the Dragon Knight actually came up in some games. Where it was like, you know, do I summon Dragoon or do I summon Dragon Knight? And there have been times where it's like, you know, okay, summon Dragon Knight, and they can't do anything about it while Eternal Soul's on the field. And it's forced the opponent to think, oh shit, I have to try and get rid of this monster, but I can't. And I can't blow up their back row. So, like, they're having to come up with weird ways to try and get around your, you know, DM triangle lock. And it's good. It's really good. Like, yeah, you can't summon it from the graveyard, but DM the Dragon Knight's only there to, like, you know, keep your board on the field as long as Eternal Soul's face up. Keep your whole board, and your opponent has to try and get rid of DM the Dragon Knight in a non-targeting, non-destruction way. You know? It's really, really good. One copy of Master of Chaos. The banish effect did come up, I think, once or twice. Not that much, but this is still a good option. In my honest opinion, I am unsure which one of these two I would sub out. Like, you could possibly sub out Master of Chaos for the Dark Magicians, because there are times where you might need to make them with secrets. But then again, you won't have your removal option for decks like Chimera or Branded. You could get rid of DM the Dragon Knight, because yeah, you can't summon it from the graveyard with this skill. But then again, you will end up in that scenario where it's like you need to make a fusion monster during your opponent's turn, and Dragoon, you might not have any cards for Dragoon to discard, so that leaves you in kind of a bit of a, like, you know, problematic situation. But hey, these cards still work out pretty well. I am debating on whether I replace them or not, but this has still worked out well. One copy of the Great Double Caster. This card is hilarious against opponents that do not suspect it. You know, a field full of defense position monsters. If they got no hand traps, no way to negate the Great Double Caster's effects. Just make this going second and punch your opponent directly, and they more than likely end up losing the duel before they even realize what is about to happen. Like, they realize, oh shit, I've got nothing to stop this, and so they just sit there and do nothing, or they panic and activate as many cards and effects as possible. It's really, really funny to, like, watch the opponent just sit there with something to respond to, but they can't stop it. It's great. I love it. Yeah, absolutely recommend it for this deck. Typhon. I did not summon Typhon much, I will say that. If you don't have Typhon, you can replace this with the Dark Magicians instead. Typhon's there as a backup option. Sometimes it worked for me, sometimes it didn't. You know? This is a bit of a situational card. It's like the last thing you do, you set this up, then it's like, okay, pray that your opponent can't get rid of this. Yeah, it is a selection box only card, and I know not everyone's gonna have it. So if you don't have it, no need to use it. But it's good. It's nice. It is nice to have, like Bizarre said. But yeah, still good as an option. If you can't get it or you don't want to use it, that's completely understandable. Still a nice card though, I will say. It has worked. Heraldic Seal the Heavenly Spheres, as I've mentioned before. You make Heraldic Seal the Heavenly Spheres by attributing Rod and DMG for Protector Whelp. You use DM to make Imduck, and then you use these two to make Heraldic Seal the Heavenly Spheres. That is the full combo there. And that is all made possible by normal summoning Rod, using Magician's Salvation, Magician's Soul, send it up to the graveyard, and summon DM. Salvation summons DMG from the graveyard by targeting DM, and then you just link up into Heraldic Seal the Heavenly Spheres. Very, very good. Yeah, like that. It's a pretty basic combo and doesn't require you to use many different cards like Apprentice, Illusion, Magician. Like, you don't need to use Apprentice at all. Like, you've got 2 cards that set this up, and like that way you can use your skill to search the Salvation, or the Soul Servant, or the Circle, or the Secrets. Like, search the missing, like any missing combo pieces, and then you can just full on set up your board from there. It's very, very good. Yeah, there's not much else I would say about it. Like, compared, I will say, final thoughts, compared to the Eye of the United Dragon, this skill, it can be a little bit underwhelming at times, but the going second effect, giving you free cards for Dragon Master Knight is very nice. Like, you know, it's been very helpful dealing with Shaddoll, dealing with any other deck that uses continuous spells or traps. You can just blow them up and you don't have to worry about them at all. Or they try to use a monster effect, you just blow up that monster and you've got a way to punch through your opponent's board. It's really good. It's like, the skill's very, very good. The restrictions can hurt a bit. The consistency though, the consistency is really nice. The consistency is really nice. That's the one thing. That's the one thing I love about this skill. And yeah, as Bizarre said, Ultimate Fusion pops a card on the opponent's field. Yeah, this skill's got a lot of upsides. The summoning restrictions is quite a downside, and it would honestly be really base of Konami if they could let us summon DM the Dragon Knight from the graveyard, but no one would be playing the new skill if we could. Which is why the new skill exists. But yeah, I do like this. I will still be using the Eye of the United Dragon for the second stage of the KC Cup. I will be streaming the second stage. Yeah, you won't want to miss that. And I will be streaming the first stage as well, with this same deck. I'll be using the same deck, making adjustments here and there with the deck. And yeah, that's really all my thoughts on this deck profile. Try it out, let me know. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know in the comments below what you think. And with that all being said, thank you all very much for watching, YouTube, and I'll see you all next time.